Good morning, Facebook friends and YouTube followers. This is Rich again, back for your first video blog of the day for September 17, 2014, Wednesday morning at 7:25 in Billerica, Massachusetts. Some news to report. The Pittsburgh Pirates beat the Boston Red Sox by the score of 4-0. Also, the Baltimore Orioles clinched the AL East crown, and the Washington Nationals clinched the NL East crown, and also Minnesota Vikings running back Adrian Peterson has been on the exclusion list, the exemption list for the team, meaning he's not going to be playing, but the exemption list, players who are put on that for each NFL roster, they have 4 games as the maximum amount of time a player has to be spent on the exemption list before they get reinstated to the NFL roster, with all of these allegations about child abuse for Adrian Peterson, plus a few sponsors are mad at the NFL about these incidents, that it could be a possibility that Adrian Peterson might have played his last game with the Minnesota Vikings. And I would not be surprised if he's released by the team. And I don't think any NFL team is going to sign Adrian Peterson until everything with this child abuse scandal is over with, because they don't want to take a risk for him right now. And that's about it on the news. And my next subject is my continuation series of the top 10 of everything and anything. And I reached the 10 greatest WWF, and WWE World Champions of all time. The WWF was formed by Vincent J. McMahon, Vince McMahon's father. In 1963, they broke off from the NWA, and they controlled the northeast part of the United States, including Madison Square Garden in New York, Boston Garden in Boston, Philadelphia, Baltimore, and Washington. And the WWF had a rich history of champions over the years. It was shortened to the name WWF in 1979, and in 2002 they changed the name to WWE, World Wrestling Entertainment. And the WWE is the #1 wrestling promotion in the United States of America. It's been owned by the McMahon family for many, 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 many years, and they're going to own the WWE until somebody buys them out, which could be anybody and everybody. I wish it was a corporation like a movie studio, but we're never going to see that happening. And here's the top 10 wrestlers of all time, the greatest WWE champions of all time to wear the 10 pounds of gold. Number 10 on the list of the greatest WWE champions of all time, Superstar Billy Graham. Superstar Billy Graham held the title from April 1977 through February 1978, and he was one of the longest running heel champions of all time in the WWE. He sold out Madison Square Garden many times, and a lot of fans were cheering Billy Graham, even though he was a heel. And Billy Graham should have gotten a face run as champion in the WWE, but like Vince McMahon Sr. was so committed on booking Bob Backlund as his new long-term champion, so Billy Graham didn't get his face run as champion. Number 9 on the all-time list of greatest WWE champions of all time, Bret the Hitman Hart. The excellence of execution, the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. 5-time WWE champion. He was probably one of the best wrestlers in the world in the mid-90s, especially when the WWE had its dark period and lean period during the steroid scandal and competition from WCW. He comes in at number 9. Number 8 on the all-time list of greatest WWE champions of all time, Pedro Morales. Pedro Morales held the belt from February 1971 to December of 1973. He was a real popular champion. He had some great feuds with Stan the Man, Staggy, Siak, Ernie Ladd, Freddie, Blassie, George the Animal Steel. And he had an ethnic background because he was like Hispanic, Puerto Rican, and the Garden fans, especially New York, where about 25% of the population were like Puerto Rican Americans, and like WWE followed a tradition of like having the champion be an ethnic back in the 60s and 70s. He comes in at number 8. Number 7 on the all-time list of greatest WWE champions of all time. Triple H. Triple H has held the WWE title multiple times. He is the game. He's married to Stephanie McMahon, and he's going to be the future owner of the WWE one of these days, and he comes in at number 7. Number 6 on the all-time list, Bob Backlund. He held the belt twice. He had a 6-year run as WWE champion from 1979 through 1983. Even though like he lost the belt to Antonio Inoki in Japan, that title reign was never recognized by the WWE, and also he lost the belt to Greg the Hammer Valentine at Madison Square Garden in October 1981, but that title change was not recognized at all except in New York City. He was a fighting champion. He fought all comers, even though he had a very boring personality. He was the All-American boy, and he held it for 6 years until his manager Arnold Skolin threw in the towel. And then he regained the belt when he was a heel in November of 1994, but he only held the title for 3 days. He comes in at number 6. Number 5 on the all-time list of the greatest WWE champions of all time, The Rock. The Rock has held the belt, the World Wrestling Entertainment Championship many times. He's famous for his phrases, "Do you smell what the Rock's cooking?" Or, "It doesn't matter what your name is." Or, "Finally, The Rock has come back to Billerica." Rock's in at number 5. Number 4 on the all-time list of greatest WWE champions of all time, Bruno Sammartino, the living legend. Bruno held the title twice in the WWE from 1963 to 1971 and again from 1973 to 1977. He had the longest reigning championship of all time, over 7 years his first reign. And his second year he had the title for over 3.5 years, and he fought all comers and stuff. He's probably the greatest champion of all time, one of the greatest champions of all time in the WWE, and finally he took his place in the WWE Hall of Fame in 2013 after many years being estranged from the WWE and the McMahon family. Bruno. Number 3 on the all-time list of greatest WWE champions of all time, John Cena. John Cena's been a champion for over 10 times. He's real popular with the fans and stuff like that. He's probably the most marketable WWE superstar today. People want Cena to turn heel, but he still sells merchandise like crazy. He's never gonna turn heel. And he's probably the greatest WWE champion of the modern era. He comes in at number 3. Number 2 on the all-time list of greatest WWE champions of all time, Hulk Hogan, the icon of pro wrestling. He held the WWE Championship 6 times. He had a 4-year reign as champion from January 1984 through February 1988. A lot of people were selling merchandise like crazy, Hulkamania and the red and the yellow and stuff. What you gonna do, brothers, when the Hulkster runs wild on you? And the number 1 greatest WWE champion of all time, Stone Cold Steve Austin, the Texas Rattlesnakes. He held the WWE title for 6 times. He was famous for saying Austin 316. And that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so in his famous move, the Stunner. And he says, "You DTA, don't trust anybody." He had a famous feud with the owner of the WWE, Vince McMahon. And that feud was the highlight of the Attitude Era. And also Stone Cold drank beer and stuff. And he sold more merchandise than any other WWE superstar in history, including Hulk Hogan. And to this day, he's a mainstream star, Stone Cold Steve Austin. He has his own podcast and stuff like that. And that's about it on this list of the greatest WWE champions of all time. And I'm going to be continuing on doing these series about the greatest champions of each wrestling organization sooner or later. That tomorrow is going to be the top 10 greatest NWA, WCW US champions, and then Friday's the greatest WWE IC champions of all time. Saturday and Sunday is going to be the greatest NWA, WCW World Tag Team champions of all time, and Sunday the greatest WWE Tag Team Champions of all time. I don't know if I'll be going to be doing the greatest AWA Tag Team Champions or greatest AWA Champions of all time, because there was a select few, but what we will consider that. I'll consider anything. Well, later on in the day, we're going to do week 3 of my NFL predictions, and the third and final video blog of the night will be about sports announcer Dick Stockton, and if there's any breaking news, there'll be a special 4th video blog. Have a good day, Facebook friends and YouTube followers. Bye now.